This is episode 2 of the Homestead. I almost forgot the name. Homestead Shop Talk with Al from Lumnah Acres, Ben from Hollar Homestead, and myself, Jason from Sow the Land. These podcasts are not on iTunes yet. And, iTunes, it takes still a few weeks before they're actually on there. But this podcast is on Spotify. It's on Google Podcast apps, Samsung, and I think pretty much any other podcast app. And also we have our own Homestead Shop Talk YouTube channel. With these podcasts, and we all live in our different areas, the internet cannot be very good sometimes. But luckily, we can see Ben now. And he's in his car.
Had to relocate.
Yeah, it's all good. That's what we have to do sometimes. Sometimes we have to go and drive and upload a video. Sometimes you have to do that if you want to live in a more rural area and you need the internet. But, today we're going to talk about milk cows. But first, we're going to talk about what we did this week, and maybe certain projects we got going on. So for me, I'll go first. It's always hard to think about what we did this week. But this week, I had my mom. My mom came to visit from California, and that's got to be one of the hardest things for us living out here, is being away from family. That's so hard because we all lived probably within 30 minutes to an hour from each other out in California. Everyone lived on the next street over. It was very common that mom or grandma would come over unannounced and just pop by and say hi, or bring some kind of goodies that she cooked. That was very common, and that's how we grew up. So moving out here definitely has been difficult. So when family does come, it's enjoyable. It's, you kind of like almost don't want to do anything else, but it's so hard not to do anything else. You know what I mean? Because I still got to be putting out the content, cannot skip a week, because you're not going to get paid as much. You know how you guys know. I know Ben knows how it is. And that's difficult because, at the same time you want to be hanging out. So it's like kind of a balance you have to do when family's here, and they understand too. My mom totally understands, but just having her here and she's helping us out. We planted a pumpkin garden. Finally finished our pumpkin. I put out that video today, which is Monday. It's out there now, and she helped us do that. Helped us doing stuff around here. So then after that, what else? So I'm still working on this water tower, like a little. I'm using 2 55-gallon rain barrels that I'm gonna put a roof on it, something movable, where I can pull it to where I just planted those pumpkins, and they could save some water and hopefully use that water to water the garden. That's my goal. So I'm currently doing that. I feel like just using it gravity fed is not good enough, that I'm going to have to maybe use some kind of pump, like maybe hooked up to a battery or something like that. Because there's nothing, I don't have electricity out there or any kind of other water out there. So I figured that would be, I don't know, that should help, but I'm still trying to. Do you guys ever do projects and you're like, I don't know if this is going to work?
All the time. Every project.
but you're filming it. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm filming it, but like, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm filming it. And it almost like, I almost kind of want to like not film it until I can get it to work, and then redo it, so that way I can film it, so that way I know it's going to work. I don't know. So you guys feel that way too?
Oh yeah. There's quite a lot of projects that I do that don't make it to YouTube because I'm not sure it's going to work, and then it ends up working. It's like, man, I wish I'd at least documented it.
Yeah.
you can always not show the video if you video it. But if you don't video it, you don't have it.
Yep.
I know, but sometimes I'm like, I can
Oh,
just
I
build
get
this so
it.
much faster if I
Yep.
don't have to film it. And if it doesn't work, I've filmed it for like nothing, not nothing, but you know what I mean? Like it's hard.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
But so anyways, yeah, I had those thoughts about this build where I don't know if it's going to work. It sounds like it will, but I have my doubts.
We have an IBC tote that I move around on pasture to water our meat birds and stuff. And even without, if we're not trying to go long distances, without any elevation, we can fill 5-gallon buckets and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's good. At first I was like, it's just gonna be gravity fed. I would love to put like drip tape to it where I just turn on the faucet and then it all gravity feeds and then it waters the whole garden. But I don't know if there's enough like drop there where it will go through the drip tape because it's not too high and it's on flat ground. So that's why I thought maybe bringing in some kind of little pump to pump it out.
Yeah, you might need a pump. I actually just made one. Wasn't sure it was going to work, so I didn't film it. It's just a 55-gallon drum sitting on basically like kind of like a little trailer that I can pull around. And even with elevation, there's not enough gravity, I guess, to push through greater than 50 feet of hose.
Yeah.
Even if I'm dropping like 10 feet, it just comes out as a slow trickle. Disconnect the hose and the water comes out real fast. So might need a pump.
Yeah, I've seen those same pumps at like the hardware store. It like they sell it already. It's like a sprayer,
Yep.
and it's like a
Little
little
12 volt.
pump. Yeah, you hook it up to like a little battery or your car battery or something, and you can pull that around. Well, the thing is like $500.
Yep.
Like I don't need anything like that.
So Harbor Freight has pumps that you can hook garden hoses to. So we got one for when I was priming the PEX piping to do radiant heat, and we have our outside pipes. We have a gravity fed water system, and to get from one area to the other, we didn't have any pressure. So I just hooked up one of those pumps, and then I had a DC one, so I just hooked it up to our UTV battery, and it was able to pump from the gravity fed hydrant over to the other side of the pasture, and it filled up the 100-gallon stock tank pretty quick.
Nice.
So,
Wow.
and I think that was like $50 or $60 at Harbor Freight.
Better than
Yeah.
500.
Yes.
That's nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. Hopefully I can finish that this week, so that way I can put out a video. But yeah, that's going to be ongoing. But other than that, that's about it.
Oh, cool.
How about you, Al?
Nice. We're still working on getting the workshop all formed up. We've been working on getting the foam board put down. We put some PEX piping in the foam board and then the rebar. And then I said, man, I got all this PEX piping gonna get covered up with concrete, and someday we might put a lift in this floor, and that means I gotta drill holes, and I'm not gonna know where my PEX piping is. So I said, you know what? I need to figure out where we might have a lift, and then I had to take out the PEX pipe, and there was spots, and I had to cut out the foam because I want to make like a deeper footing, and so we made like some 3 foot by 3 foot blocks or footings, spaced where I think they need to go, and then that way later on in the future, if we put a lift in, we don't have to worry about putting holes in our radiant heat because that wouldn't be any fun.
When
So,
you
like,
say a
it
lift,
sounds
what do
like
you mean
you
by
just-
lift?
Like an automobile lift.
Oh, okay.
So if we want to work on a car or a pickup truck.
Now,
Have
are you like what parts are you doing? Are you like hiring out to do certain parts, or are you doing it all yourself?
So we'll be involved in all of it, but we are hiring help to help us pour the concrete, and then we are helping him and his crew to come out and help us do the framing. So he'll come out, they'll help us pour on pour day, which is
It's a long day.
yeah, so Wednesday, so the day after the 4th, we're going to be pouring concrete, and there'll be 4 of us. And then beginning of August, we'll be framing up. We're going to be building like a pole barn. and then we'll be doing it all in steel. So him and his guys will come over and give us a hand, and we'll hopefully knock that out in like a week or two, and then we'll
And how
finish
big
up
is this
the
building?
rest. It'll be 40 by 40. We're gonna go with 12-foot high walls. We're getting trusses, and I went with like a scissor truss, so it's like a fake cathedral ceiling, so that way we can put a lift in. So we'll have, instead of having a flat ceiling, it'll be like a cathedral, so that way I'll have more room to go with the lift versus having to go with taller walls. Figure it'll save us money on, metal sheathing and stuff like that. We won't have to go say 14 to 16 feet.
Now, is this a kit that you're building, or is it just you're just building it as you go?
No, we're just building it as we go. We kind of sketched it up, came up with a design, and went with it. I tried doing different post and beam kits. I haven't found any ones that can go very big. They can go like 30 by 20. I want something that's bigger and clear spanned. I was looking into the metal kits you can do yourself. Like for your guys' climate, they'd be perfect. You could do one. We can do it in our climate, but with all of our snow load, we'd have to have like weird bracing on the inside, and we'd lose like an extra foot or two on the inside because it'd be this funky like diagonal bracing coming all the way down to the floor. And
that's too bad.
Yeah, so I was like, no, with all of our snow load, it wasn't feasible to go any other route.
I see. Yeah, because I always thought like if I built something like that, I would build maybe like a 20 by 30 or something like that. But I wonder if buying all the pieces separate would be like, I don't know if that would be cheaper, but I don't know if that would be better, or just buying like a kit. I'm just curious.
So we priced out the kit for a metal DIY steel building kit, do yourself. It would have cost me the same money for the kit as what it's costing me to build the 40 by 40 post and beam the way we're going to do it with hiring these other guys. So I get labor included for the same price.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So it would be a lot cheaper if I did it myself, but I don't like doing framing myself. You need more than one guy, I feel like, to put up a building.
Oh, for sure.
Speaking of like climates and stuff, so we went off of Ben's plan. We got a cow, and we loved Ben's milking stand, and we just kind of went with that. But I did a little bit more to it, I think, because I'm like, this is awesome. I like this design. I'm like, ooh, I don't know if that's gonna work. I strengthened up the roof just a little bit more because I'm like, this is probably gonna sit out here and get like 2 or 3 feet of snow in it this winter when I'm not using it. And come springtime, yeah, it might not be there. So Ben, I love your idea. We've been using it. We just reinforced it a little bit for our climate, and it's been working awesome.
Nice. That's good to hear. I think you're the second or third person I know that has made a milking stanchion like ours.
Yep.
And I mean, it does a job. Actually, when I start talking, I'll tell you a little story about that stanchion. But yeah, I'm glad it tickled me and Meg when you asked for dimensions. It was like, really? Al's gonna make you know how to build everything. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
I figure out how to build everything as I'm going. I don't always know how to do it before I start.
Isn't that how we all are?
Yes.
Self-taught.
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that. I hate that the mentality on YouTube comments are, if you don't know how to do it like the best of the best, why are you trying? It's like, no, that's how you learn. You need to figure it out. Like, I think we'd be in a lot better place in our world if people would just jump in and not wait for an expert to tell them how to do it or do it.
Make mistakes. Get your hands dirty. That's how you learn.
Yep. You'll do it better next time.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what my week's been up to. So been pretty busy, but we're looking forward to having the shop done. I'm looking forward to be done with concrete because I don't like all that bull work.
Yeah.
Concrete is about as hard as it gets.
What was that, Jason?
You have a time frame of when you think you would be done?
I'm thinking the end of August the building will be up and framed. It's like closed in. Then we got to start doing electrical and solar and garage door and stuff like that.
Yeah. I would love to do something like that.
You will.
Eventually. I know Ben wants to do something like that, huh, Ben?
Man, I've got so many ideas for giant projects. I kind of have it's not analysis paralysis, but it's basically that. Like, I have so many things I want to do. I don't know what to start first.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's some pretty important things that I have put off. Like, I really, really need to skirt our mobile home, and we've been living in it for almost 3 years now, and I have not done it. I need to build the decks, just stuff like that. It's like, why have I not done this? Sometimes I sit and think, it's like, am I just being lazy? Is that what it is? And then I think back, it's like, no. I have the videos of everything that I have done in that, 3-year time. Yeah, it's just being busy.
Priorities. I think
priorities. Yep.
Yeah, different
So
priorities for different
what'd you get done this week, Ben? Anything special?
No, nothing that really sticks out. We've been harvesting all sorts of stuff. I think we harvested more potatoes. Harvested a mess of potatoes. I think we got over 200 pounds of potatoes we pulled in.
That's awesome.
And then it's like it was last week, a whole bunch of maintenance, tying up tomatoes. That was actually why I was late last week, was I was out in the greenhouse tying up tomatoes, and it's like, oh, shoot. But
I was like, I think Ben forgot.
Yeah. I did. I didn't even know what day it was. I knew I was tying up tomatoes, and I was happy about it. No, a whole lot of maintenance. There's been a whole lot of stuff going on outside of YouTube, outside of basically our online personas, our life that we share. We've just been busy with stuff, like the boys, the twins are going through driver's training, so we've been busy with that kind of stuff. It's just a whole lot of life. Really, that's what's been going on, is a whole bunch of life has been happening, and trying to fit in YouTube and still do the homestead thing. It's been a struggle for probably the past 2 months. And then in the past 2 months, we've had Meg's sister and her family came out, and then 2 weeks later, my parents came out, and it's been a busy couple months.
It's good though, man.
So, yeah, being busy's good. I feel like I've been in a constant state of exhausted and burnt out with everything. It's an interesting place to find myself, because I feel like I'm doing what I've always wanted to do. Like, this life suits me, this life makes me happy, and to feel burnt out doing the same thing every day is kind of weird to me. It's like, why do I feel this way? Like, what's going on? And so that's been something I've been dealing with personally. There's a couple friends I've talked to about it, and they've kind of given me the same thing. They're like, it happens. You just go through phases, and you get over it and move on. And so that's kind of the point I'm at right now, is working on figuring out what the next big thing is.
I'd say I dealt with that this winter. I would say one of the big things I found myself that worked pretty good just by myself. It's a season. Like, we all go through seasons. Like, it's temporary. It's not like forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's strange when you're doing what you want to do and then you still get burnt out, and
Yep.
Oh yeah, it makes me not want to do anything. Like, it makes me not want to film or nothing.
Yeah, that's where it is. It's kind of just, let me just crawl in a hole and just wallow in it. But I've also been there too. It's better just to keep moving than fall down and wallow in self-pity.
Organizing. I find that if I really burnt out, like, go and organize something. Like, go clean something, like a barn, or like hang something up. And then it's when in that organizing, I start to think different things, and then I feel like that almost helps me, like, get out of that. I think.
Man, that has actually been part of my struggle. Is I am at this weird crossroads. The twins are 16, and then the middle one is 14. Brett's 14. And then Corbin just turned 11. All 4 of them want to do things with tools. And I'm having to relinquish my tools bit by bit. 16, I was already using all of my dad's tools. Like, my dad was never home to say otherwise. I had grown up watching my dad build stuff and, do stuff like that. And I just figured it out. Well, now here it is. It's like, oh my gosh, the twins are 16. That's how old I was when I knew how to use all these tools, and I'm the one not letting them use the tools. And so I've kind of started this process of, I show them how to use the stuff to kind of comfort myself in knowing they're not going to lose a finger or something like that. And watching some of the stuff that these guys, these young men, are starting to build is just incredible. They really like swords and knives and stuff like that, kind of the path that I used to be on. And they're all starting to make knives and swords and weapons. And the quality of stuff that they're coming up with has just been incredible. But on that same token, I'm having to relinquish my workspace. And I'll go down there and I'll need to fix something, and it looks like a explosion of tools went off and everything in the toolbox is out. There's no flat surface that isn't covered in just stuff. And it's been really hard. It's like working with that one coworker that never cleans up, and I have 4 of them. And it's been kind of hard. It's like, okay, like, come on guys, I work here too, so
That's funny.
Yeah. That's been something I've been dealing with. It's it's a dance.
Right. So you need to teach them how to do framing, and then you all 4 of you guys or 5 of you can start building the bigger workshop that you can all share in a room.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Dude.
So I guess I should segue back to farm stuff. Kind of on that note of being burnt out and changing some stuff around. I think we could move into the rest of my week. So kind of searching for free time, not even free time, reevaluating our time and where we spend our time and how we use our time. We keep coming back to the dairy cow, and it finally got to the point where we had the discussion. It was like, hey, rather than resent the amount of time we're spending on this cow, why don't we just sell her? And we talked about it, and we've been talking about this for months, and we finally came down to it. It was like, let's sell the cow. So Meg put it out to a group we're in, and immediately had several people who were interested. And first person who came over bought her. They're picking her up tomorrow morning, which, that's a 4th of July pickup, which is kind of funny but they're all excited. I guess they've got 2 or 3 dairy cows, and they wanted another one. So we're excited. They're excited. We're keeping the steer. We've got too much time and energy into the steer to get rid of him. He's destined for our freezer. So we're going to go down to just having the steer. He's going to be 2 in October. So he's a little bit big, but he's a Jersey, so we wanted to let him go to 2 just so he'd be a little bit bigger. I think in hindsight, the next one we would probably do it a year, just because that's a long time to have to feed. Yeah. We basically fed 2 full-size cows last winter, and that was hard. Getting rid of the cow isn't really, it's just time. I think that was what it boiled down to, is we need our mornings back, and rather than be miserable and start hating homesteading, it was like, hey, why don't we just get rid of the cow? We can get another cow later, but for right now, this is what needs to happen. And so that was kind of the reason. Before we had started recording, Al, you'd asked about her temperament. This cow is the gentlest cow. All of the kids can be around her while we're milking, period. Around her, period. Milking or not, she's gentle. She's the sweetest cow. And I've never had to worry about the dairy cow. Daisy is her name. The steer is a completely different story. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. He's got it in his head that anybody shorter than him needs to die. So He's kind of,
Oh yeah.
he's not very safe, but that's all right. He's got his own pen and stuff like that. So
Now, how
Yeah,
old
I'm
is
sure
Daisy?
that was a tough decision.
it was kind of a tough decision. Daisy is 8, so she's
Okay.
she's getting up there. So yeah, it was kind of a hard decision. You know, living this existence we have where we share our lives, I think a lot of the apprehension was, what are people going to say? Are we going to get beat up over this? People, that have an idealized idea of what we're doing, and then we smash that paradigm. Some people can get upset about that, but at the end of the day, we have to do what's right for us. We have to, number one, look out for our family. And if spending all this time on a dairy cow every day is starting to suck the fun out of our home life, well, then I guess it's time to go. And like I said, if we can acquire some more land with some pasture, we will probably definitely get another dairy cow. But as it is right now, we want to put in a Wallapini greenhouse, a underground greenhouse, and we can't spare the cow days of grass to put this thing in.
Yep.
We want to expand the garden, and I can't spare the grass right now. So it's kind of stuff like that. It's like we're kind of at this standstill as long as we keep the cow, and we can't do the homestead things that we'd really like to do while we have her. So it was just what had to happen.
I think that's a great approach to, like, you were able to stand back and be like, hey, this is one thing that's kind of making homesteading not fun for us right now. And you were able to, like, pinpoint that and be like, we don't want to take the fun out of this. We want to be able to do what you guys enjoy. You seem to enjoy, you love gardening and you want to do the greenhouse thing. So I think that's awesome that you're able to, like, step back and go, hey, yes, this is something we wanted to do. This was a goal of ours, and we did it. But right now, it's not the right time. Like, we did that with our goats. We had our goats for a while. Gina got sick. We were in and out of the hospital last year a lot. So we had the goats, but we stopped milking. And we tried raw A2 milk, fell in love with that. And with the bigger property, we're like, hey, now we want to get a cow. But same with you. We waited for a while to get rid of the goats because being on YouTube, a lot of people fell in love with the goats. So you're kind of scared there. But then on the same hand, we're like, this is where we want to go next. So you kind of have to realize we have to do our dreams and not let that stuff hold you back. But I think that's awesome how you said that you didn't want to let not just the YouTube part of it, but that was like what was not always fun every day for you. So you're able to move on and go. And I think that was even better that you're like, hey, I can go from, just because we don't have the cow now doesn't mean we can't ever get one again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was once I finally realized that, it's like, we can buy another cow.
Yeah.
And, honestly, we bought this cow as our first cow. We didn't know she was A2 when we got her. We had her tested and found out, which that was a total bonus. But realizing there's higher productive cows out there. This cow, even when she was fresh, when we got her, her calf was almost 2 weeks old. So she had just had that calf. She was at peak milk production. We still only were getting maybe 2.5 gallons. So
One milking or two milkings?
one milking.
One milking. And she was like 6 when you got her?
She was 7 when we got her. Oh yeah, I guess she was 6 because we've had her almost 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just curious. So we got she's a Jersey. It was actually kind of funny that Gina talked to the lady that the lady we got her from. Gina had actually talked to the farmer that she got her from, not knowing. But Gina had a bunch of surgeries going on, so we couldn't get the cow. The lady we got her from this year, she actually bought her from the other lady, which we didn't realize at the time. It was very big into like the genetics of grass-fed A2 cows. So she's really good. But it was just, it's just kind of crazy how there's so much to learn about grass-fed genetics and production. And
How long have you had that milk cow?
One of the things,
I think we've had it for about 3 months now.
one of the things I wish we had known when we got her, when we showed up and they put her in the stanchion and they let us milk her, they fed this cow with a scoop shovel and grain. Like, they just shoveled it in front of her. And if we had known what we know now, we would have looked for a cow with grass-fed genetics. That was kind of a mistake, but you don't know what you don't know.
Nope. But like we were talking about before, that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. You guys learned so much with the 2 years of having that cow. Or
Yep.
if you didn't get that cow, you still wouldn't know what you didn't know then. You'd just be older, still not knowing.
Yep.
And I think sometimes jumping in feet first is kind of the best way to learn.
Sometimes jumping in feet first is the best way to learn, but it's very intimidating when you're filming it and putting it on the internet.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, if we weren't sharing our lives on the internet, that wouldn't even come up. Like, oh, I'm afraid of what my neighbors would say,
Right.
Or what I'm afraid of what my friends will say. Like, no, that's not even like, that wouldn't even come up. But yeah, we're kind of afraid of, like, what is the internet gonna say? They're gonna give us a hard time. Majority of people don't, but those few people that do are gonna give us a hard time they're gonna say, oh man, you guys are giving up, like whatever they're gonna say, but that's what makes it hard.
I think we probably, I don't know if, I'm not saying like us just in general, but there's like, this has got to be like the first generation sometime that has ever had to deal with that. Like that whole worrying about what the social media people will think.
Yep.
So it's interesting.
That's what makes it so
interesting to navigate.
Yeah, it's the same thing with buying a bigger property. Like when we went from 1.5 acres to 14 acres, people were telling me that I sold out. I'm like, what do you mean selling out? Like, I'm trying to grow, like, as a person, as my family. Like, I can't, what do you mean? What does that even mean? Like, that they liked me better when I was on a little 1.5 acres. Now I'm too big, I'm like, well, okay, but so that means I'm not gonna grow at my family, like, no, like,
that doesn't make sense.
We're normal people. We live our lives. We're not like making things up as we go, and if I want to have a bigger property, I'm gonna have a bigger property.
Yep.
But on the same hand, like, we get comments like that all the time too. It's like, for me, I would think if you're not growing, your content's not changing, it's getting stagnant. Like, I would think as the viewers, you'd want to see like somebody's life progression. Other people we watch, I like seeing their life progression. Like, it's natural life.
Yeah.
We might be able to do different things because we're online, but I think it'd get boring if you just always stayed doing the same thing every day. And I wouldn't want to watch somebody doing like Groundhog Day every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's old.
Yep.
I know. How many times did people watch me pull a chicken tractor?
Yep.
Oh, I want to move some cows around,
I think
milk
that's
cow
a hard
eventually.
thing too with milk, right?
Yeah,
There's a lot of
I think eventually
stuff that
yeah, it's all seasonal, but like I think eventually we'll probably get a milk cow, just because I want to try it. Whether we like it or not, I don't know, but just to try it.
Man, I should have talked to you. You could have had a milk cow. She wouldn't have had to go very far.
Too soon. Eventually is not right now. Eventually is like, I don't know when, but not today.
I would definitely look into grass genetics from all of this. We've lucked out. I feel like she has really good grass genetics we've got, but I've just kind of been like deep diving into like all the grass genetics and like just grass feeding cows. And there's a lot of farms down your way in like the Virginia area, it seems like, that have been doing it for a while, and they have really good genetics on grass feeding cows. So we might try to get some like semen from one of these farms so we can AI our cow and kind of go that route. But it's kind of crazy how the food world has changed everything. Like, we stopped raising animals for grass, and
well, that's why we're here. That's why we got to do it ourselves.
that's right.
Yep.
You guys going to the Homesteads of America conference this year, any of you?
I don't think so.
No plans of right now. I would love to go, but
Yep.
um, I guess it's just a matter of getting away is hard. Having somebody watch your place, and then like it takes a lot, because I don't want to just go. I have to be a vendor, like I
Mhm.
I gotta bring merchandise. I gotta bring stuff, so that takes a lot too. So just planning all that. So yeah, as of right now, probably not, but you never know. Something might I might get an itch.
Like,
We have actually kind of been homebound for quite a while, having a dairy cow because we haven't been able to find anybody who will farm sit and milk a cow. That's been the hardest hang up, is not having the ability to go anywhere for longer than a day. Like that has been so frustrating. Just a couple years ago, we left our home and traveled around the entire United States, and now
right.
we can't leave home for longer than a day. It's been kind of rough, but yeah. Even though we are selling the cow, I don't think we're going to HOA this year. I think we had already decided earlier, but maybe next year.
Yeah.
It's quite a
How
bit
about
of a
you,
route
Al?
for you guys still, isn't it? No, I don't
8
have
hours? Sorry.
8 hours. Yeah, so it's a good
Yeah, it's
ride.
like 8 hours.
I think for us it's like 16 if we drove. So we've never got down there just because of that. It would take a good day of driving and then the rest. And usually for us, it seems like it falls when we're trying to harvest our pigs. It's usually pig
Yes.
harvesting for us. So
Yep.
that was like the big thing at first. Like, oh wait, this is when we were planning on harvesting our pigs, and it's hard to get away anyways. But when you got stuff like that going on,
Yeah, if you're gonna go there,
and now we
Al,
get
you might as well drive another 8 hours and drive to our house.
okay. So you guys are south. Gotcha. So you're 8 hours south.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
just a
okay,
yeah,
I will.
solid 24 hours of driving, you'll be here.
yeah.
Big deal,
No big deal.
right?
But have you ever been to one of those events, Al?
I have not. I have not gone anywhere,
They're fun.
believe it or not. Yeah.
You'll meet some definitely cool people. You might have a line that want to meet you, but everyone's
Yep.
cool.
Right. I shouldn't say that. There
Everybody.
was a Mother Earth News Year conference in Burlington, Vermont, like right around when we started doing YouTube. That was like the only time we just went to check it out, kind of thing. Yeah, that was fun. It's kind of interesting to be around like-minded people because it's not just like-minded people everywhere.
So you don't have, do you have a good homesteading community where you're at?
No, not really. We have a few friends that do it, but there's not a we haven't I can't say that there hasn't been any community
Right.
that we've found. And I think that's the hard part sometimes is just finding the like-minded people because we're all busy. Like the three of us, we're all busy doing our own thing, so we don't get out and
Yeah,
mingle, I guess.
that's hard. I know we're like since my mom was over this week, like we went to the farmers market, but I'm like, we don't need to go to the farmers market, like to
Right?
buy anything because we already produce all the stuff, really. So now
Yep.
it's just going just to go and like hang out somewhere and walk around, you know.
Yep.
And before it was like we're going to the farmers market to buy something. Now it's more of like let's just go and just hang out and talk to some local farmers or something.
It's funny you say that. I think part of that too. I don't know if it's California culture, but going to a farmer's market was like that was a cool thing to do on a Saturday. Like we'd go there
Yeah.
and get stuff to where you can eat lunch and then get your veggies, and like it was like a cool thing to do. And since we've been out here and we're growing so much of our food, or we found places where we can buy, bulk to where we're making all of our own food, it's just we don't go anywhere. And I don't feel like we're hurting, like we need to go somewhere. It's just
Right.
a really
No,
weird place to find ourselves.
Yep.
no, it is. I know you have to almost like you got to force yourself to go to the farmers market. I don't gotta
Yeah.
I don't gotta buy anything. I don't have to go. But I only went because my mom was in town. She was like, we were kind of thinking of a place to go instead of just staying home because that's all we would do, stay home. But like, families here, like they want to go out and see some stuff, So like, I don't know, farmers market, and so yeah, it is weird because you don't have to go, but if anything, I do like going though just to check out prices.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just to see how much things are. Like what I did notice this weekend was I looked at because we just harvested a bunch of garlic, and there was a booth there that they had a bunch of garlic there, and they were selling it for $4 for one garlic bulb.
Whoa.
$4. And I was like,
Man.
we just harvested $400 worth of garlic.
Right.
I couldn't believe that though. Like I didn't think it was that much. I was like, wow, that's wild.
What do they sell meat birds for? Did you check that price?
Yeah, the lady was selling it for our area was almost $6. It was like $5.75.
A pound.
Yeah, for a whole bird.
Whole bird. Was that organic or
Not organic.
not organic?
Just it was. I think it was no GMO, but it wasn't organic. I think organic out here, I've seen it up to around $7 a pound.
So you figure, what's your average meat bird weight?
5-6 pounds.
Yeah, I'd say
I
five.
think ours is like around 4 or 5.
So say 5 pounds at $7 a pound. That's $35. That's
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good
pretty good
price.
meat savings right there.
yeah. Oh no, totally. I mean, we're saving money. I mean, if you're buying the stuff anyways.
Right.
But so it's interesting to go to those at least just to go check out prices and see what's going on.
Now, did you
I
go
think
to
when we-
Asheville for the farmers market, or was it a more local one?
That one it was more local one. The Asheville ones are great, man. Like they're a lot bigger, and there's probably a farmers market like every day of the week. And
Oh, wow.
but the prices are more expensive too, though. It's a bigger
That's what I
bigger
was going
city.
to ask.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
those
wondering
ones
if
are
the
like
prices were more.
$7 a pound for chicken. And they are more expensive, but they're also organic. So they are a little bit, I guess, grow more organically up there, or people that they have customers who want that.
I can't think the last time we've been to a farmer's market. It must be 5 years, I would think.
I think that's been
Yeah.
about us too. At least since 2020. That was when
Yep.
everything shut down and
Right.
we quit going. But yeah, pretty much since we've been out here, we haven't gone to farmers markets.
I asked if the kids were disappointed that the cow was going to be leaving.
Yeah, we told them, I think actually when the lady showed up to meet the cow, and they're all like, "What is this?" Like, "Oh, this is the lady buying our cow." The what? And so it was like, "Well, why are you guys mad?" And they're like, "'Cause we really like the milk." Like, okay. And they're like, "And the ice cream."
Yep.
Like, okay. Like we were buying milk. We have a relationship with a local guy that has a dairy operation. He's a small farmer, and his milk's great, and that was what we were getting before we got the cow. We can get raw milk. It's not A2, but it's still good milk. And the ice cream situation, we didn't really make that much ice cream the whole time we had the cow anyways, so yeah. They kind of pitched a little bit of a fit, but then we pointed out it's like, if we want ice cream, we can either make ice cream or go get ice cream. So they kind of, oh, okay. But yeah, nobody offered to do cow chores
Right.
in the to try to woo me into keeping the cow. So it was like, all right, this must not be that important.
So I guess I got a question on the cow. You said she was fed a lot of grain at the other place. Did you notice a big drop in milk production? Because I'm assuming you didn't feed as much grain. Did you notice she
So
wasn't producing as much because of
when
lack?
when we got her, I kept her on grain for, I don't know, it was the first like 2-3 months. before I like really started weaning her off.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same from the day we brought her home until even after she was off grain. We noticed a pretty good decrease in milk production once we started feeding hay. So we got her in October, and we started feeding hay in December.
Okay.
And that was when it, like, everything just kind of dropped. I think we pretty much held at like 2 gallons all the way through winter, that first winter. And then once grass season started again, her production went up a little bit, but for the most part, it's just been kind of this slow decline since we got her. But yeah, actually, come to find out, I can't believe I'm going to say this publicly. We didn't know how dangerous it is to take a grain-fed cow off of grain.
Yep.
And yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
it's
we
dangerous? I didn't know it was
luckily
dangerous.
Yeah, you can actually kill them if you take them off of grain, especially suddenly. Because we weaned her for a while and just kind of decreased it. And then once we were out, I didn't buy any more. And I was like, well, we got plenty of grass, so eat up.
Yep.
And we saw a little bit of condition decline, but it wasn't like scary. But then that next winter, I had such a hard time keeping weight on her. We had to really start pumping her full of alfalfa to get any weight to go back on her. So this past winter, it was kind of like, we learned our lesson. It was like, oh, you realize we could have killed our cow? Me and Meg were talking. She's like, yeah, what's that book called? Keeping a Family Milk Cow. That's a great resource. But various places, videos I've watched, people I've listened to, and they've all said the same thing. It's like, yeah, if it's a grain-fed cow, just keep it on grain. If it's a grass genetic cow, keep it on grass. I mean, that makes perfect sense. But don't try to take your grain genetic cow and turn it into a grass-only cow. But she's done pretty good.
Wow.
So she was, honestly, it was probably divine intervention that we didn't lose that cow by doing something stupid.
I wonder if it's too, though, if she's a Jersey. There's a lot of Jerseys there, more for grass than some other breeds.
It could be.
Did you milk?
All I know is I
your
felt pretty
goats?
sheepish when we learned that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
What was that, Jason?
Did you ever milk your goats that you had?
Yeah, we milked for a couple of years, and we were milking. So Gina's diagnosis came in, and we had some big surgeries we had to do. So right before her surgeries, we ended up stopping milking. We still had 2 goats in milk, and we were like, yeah, no, we're not gonna be able to milk. And we had a lot of back and forth trips to the hospital. It was like the hospital was like 2 hours away that we were dealing with, so it took us off from milking. But it worked out. And luckily, we hadn't bred the goats. If for some reason we hadn't bred them, and then it was wintertime, and then right after that, when we were going to stop rebreeding them again, we had found out all that other information. So it was like, nope, luckily we hadn't. So we didn't have, they were on the downhill side of milking anyway, so it was just easy to wean them from milking. We didn't have to worry about mastitis or nothing.
Do you remember how many
Milking
gallons you were
definitely.
getting from those goats?
Goats, it's like pints.
Okay.
And you can't, so going from pints to gallons, so right now, we're getting about roughly 2 gallons a day. We're doing just grass, or mostly grass. The calf's on her. And so, yeah, to get 2 gallons a day is huge. And then we can do so much more. Like with goat's milk, you got milk and you can drink it. You can maybe make caramel sauce with it. But other than that, you can't make really butter or cheeses. I mean, I guess you can make goat cheese, but you're not going to make like any hard cheese or ice cream or anything like that. So have the milk cow and be able to cream separate. You can do a lot more with it, which is nice. Our daughter's been falling in love with making ice cream. So we've been probably having like fresh batches of ice cream 2 to 3 times a week. So we're trying out all these different ice cream flavors. So we've been enjoying that.
Yeah,
That's fun,
we
yeah.
dialed in the moose track recipe.
Moose tracks? Yeah.
Yep.
She asked me what I wanted for Father's Day, and I told her I wanted strawberry rhubarb ice cream. So
Ooh.
she found one, and it was delicious. So we've done strawberry rhubarb ice cream. We did like Muddy Buddies and chocolate ice
Ooh.
cream. Did peanut butter and chocolate ice cream. We've done a couple of vanillas. We did a blueberry frozen yogurt. There's been a couple other ones, but I think that's like one of the highlights is the good ice cream you can make and the butter and
That's great. Well, you're still new, Al. So
yeah.
you're still new with the milk cows, though.
That's right. When are you getting yours, Jason?
I don't know. We talk about it. Eventually we will, but I don't know when that's going to be. I guess I'm really working on my fence. I really would like a perimeter fence going. At least something that I could charge it. Before I'm trying to do that before I get any larger animals. I think we just lucked out last time when I had our two beefy boys that they didn't get out. Like I think we just lucked out. But I'm trying to establish that fence line before I get those bigger animals. So who knows?
So where are you at with that? Do you have to re-fence it, or are you still waiting to cut around some of the fence?
I'm still waiting to cut around it. I think I have to wait probably till the fall time or winter. By the time I try to, but when you mow something, it grows back before I even have a chance to come back to it, and it's like, forget it. I might just wait till winter. I mean, there's some parts I want to do woven wire fence, and maybe I could do that, but I just feel like I'm not. Plus, there's some corner posts I need to do still. I need to redo those, and put gates up in various spots. So I don't know. It's just not happening right now.
So you got to have the mulcher come back, and no,
I don't think I need him to come back. I think we should be okay. Everything else is kind of just sporadic, and I got that brush mower now, so I could use that in different spots that I need it. So, but I hope to not rent that machine again. Not that I don't want to. It's super fun to watch, but just the cost of it. I hope to not rent that again. But
how many times could you hire that guy before you could actually justify buying a piece of equipment?
If I had to hire him like 4 times, I hired him.
Kind of puts it in perspective.
I did it twice. So, yeah, like my neighbor, he's hired him quite a few times. He's on 40 acres. It's still a lot. I mean, it's still a lot to buy it, though, because you have to buy the machine and everything. But then you'd have it, and then you could hire it out and do it yourself.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, you create your own business.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. But
hey, it's like me and you have talked, Jason. It's Jason's tree service, septic, and notary. That's how it is around here. Everybody wears all the hats.
Yep, you got to add the and notary down at the bottom.
Yep. That's funny.
So if you guys are, how about let's do this? If you guys are, it's hard to comment on a podcast if you're listening to us on, iTunes or Spotify or anything like that. But if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, which is Homestead Shop Talk YouTube channel, and if there's suggest a topic, throw it in the notes or the comments. Throw a comment, and if you feel like there's something that a topic we should talk about or you would like to hear us talk about, throw it down there, and maybe we will, maybe we won't. But I think that'd be fun, and I appreciate everyone listening and watching this podcast. But yeah, it's just in a selfish way, I just really wanted to talk to these guys at least once a week.
Right. It's nice to get together with like-minded people and have a good conversation.
Yep.
That's for sure. I got one
Yep.
question for the viewers. No matter how you're listening, whether it's you go over to the YouTube channel or go to like Instagram and DM us. But
Yeah.
if we were to do talks, like I've been asked to go to different events and do talks, what are some different talks you'd like to hear us do? I know that's one thing I always struggle. It's like, oh, you want to come do a talk? It's like, well, what am I going to talk about? Like, I don't want to just talk to talk. Like, what would be a topic that you'd like to hear Ben talk about, or Jason, or
That's a good
myself
one.
if we went to an event? I'd kind of like that feedback for, I guess, my selfishness, but to know.
That is a very good one because I have that same problem. People,
Yep.
hey, can you speak at our event? And I'm like, what do you want me to speak about? And they're like, and they
Right.
say, whatever you want. And I'm like, no, that doesn't help me.
No, right? And I feel like whether it becomes more of a bigger movement or not, it needs to become. And I think like the community is there. And I think we need to stop building more of a community. I guess it's been one thing that's, I guess, God's putting on my heart is we got to find a way to build this community of like-minded people because we are all busy when we're building homesteads. We're busy and we're building homesteads, I think, because we want to be home. But how do you reach like-minded people? And I think the events that are going on, like HOA, I think there was the Modern Homesteading Conference in Idaho. There's the ones. Well, you went to the one at Rory Feeks.
Yep.
Joel's been doing a lot. It seems like at Polyface. I think you're gonna start seeing more and more pop up. They're starting to do one in New England. I think it's called Hone. So I think there's gonna be more of that. But it'd be interesting to know like what are some topics if you want some people to go, what you'd like to hear them talk about.
Yeah, that's
I like
awesome.
that.
Yeah, you could comment on the YouTube channel, or exactly, DM us or even email us. So
Yep.
cool, guys. Well, thank you guys. Nice talking, and we'll see you guys next week.
Sounds good. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.